guys, it's Rachel. Today I'm doing my January 2016 wrap-up. I read 8 books this month, so it was a really great reading month for me. I'm really happy with that. So without further ado, let's get started. The first book I read in 2016 is Conversion by Katherine Ho. This book follows a girl called Colleen, and she goes to a school which was built on the grounds that the Salem witch trials took place years and years beforehand. And basically there's a sickness going around school, nobody knows what it is, nobody knows how to cure it. So basically Colleen is wondering what's going on, trying to figure it out. This book flicks between the past and the present. In the past it follows a girl called Anne who's talking to a reverend about a bad deed she did. It's all about the Salem witch trials. This book wasn't great. I actually did not enjoy it much at all. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It was just... I expected so much from this book and it was such a letdown. I just found the writing style to be quite boring. I couldn't really get into it. Didn't think the characters were great. Just the ending, I wanted to keep reading. I didn't want to DNF it because I thought maybe the ending might be interesting, but it wasn't. It was a huge disappointment. I just really did not like this book. I'm really sad that this was the first book that I read this year because it was just such a disappointment and I won't be reading it again. The second book I read this year is Demon Road by Derek Landy. This is Derek Landy's new series. I think it's going to be a trilogy. This is the first book. The second book is coming out sometime this year. I can't remember which month. This book follows a girl called Amber, and basically she finds out that her parents are demons, and she also finds out that she herself is a demon. She can turn into a demon at will. Her parents are trying to eat her and absorb her powers so they can have her powers for themselves. So Amber goes on the run with a man called Milo, who I love, by the way. He is amazing. They meet up with an Irish boy called Glenn. This book takes place in America, but I knew Derek Landy would have to have something Irish in it. So Glenn is from Ireland and he is such a brilliant character. He's so funny. I love this book. This book was so much fun to read. It was really exciting, action-packed, just really good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I just couldn't love it as much as I love the Skullduggery Pleasant series by Derek Landy. I don't know, I think I'm just still attached to Skullduggery and Valkyrie, and my heart still holds on to them. I don't want that series to be over, even though it ended a while back now, but I just couldn't love this book as much, so I couldn't give it a 5 stars, but it was still really good, and I'm definitely excited to read the next book. So the third book I read is The Sky is Everywhere by Jandy Nelson. This book follows a girl called Lenny and her sister Bailey dies. The whole book is basically her trying to cope with her sister's death, and there's also a love triangle in here. Lenny falls for the new boy in her school, Joe Fontaine, as well as her dead sister's boyfriend, Toby. So this book was just an emotional roller coaster. It made me cry. It was beautiful, heartbreaking. My favourite thing about this book was the fact that at the start of every chapter, Lenny writes a poem and scatters it around her hometown. So I'll just give you an example here. So here's one of the poems at the start of the chapter, and at the bottom it says where they're found. So this one was found written on a candy wrapper on the trail to the Rain River. I just thought it was such a brilliant idea having Lenny write poems and scatter them around her hometown. It's just such a unique idea, so brilliant, beautiful. This book was really good. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It was really good. The fourth book I read this year is The Selection by Kira Cass. I'm sure you all know about this book. It's quite popular. It follows a girl called America Singer. I don't know why Kira Cass decided to name her protagonist America Singer, but anyway. So America gets chosen to be in the selection, which is 35 girls who go into the palace, and Prince Maxon has to basically narrow the 35 girls down to 1, and that is going to be the girl he marries, and she obviously becomes princess. This book was interesting. I gave it, I think, 3.5 out of 5 on Goodreads. It was good. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't terrible. The characters were okay. America Singer was... I've heard she gets really annoying in the later books, so kind of scared about that, but I am definitely going to read the second book just to see what happens. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to love this series, but it was good. The next book I read in 2016 is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. There was huge hype about this book last year, and I only read it this year, but I really loved it. I know there are so many mixed opinions about this book, but I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4.5 out of 5 on Goodreads. Yeah, so I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was fun. I liked the plot twist at the end. The characters were really great. I liked it. This book is about a world that's divided by blood, so there's reds and there's silvers. Silvers are like high above and they all have powers, whereas reds are just normal humans. The main girl, Mare, she is a red, but she finds out that she has a power. She can produce and control lightning. So she gets taken into the palace and she has to pretend that she's a silver. And there's two princes, Maven and Cal, and there's kind of a bit of a love triangle there. I just thought this was a really fun read. I thought it was really good. Glass Sword is actually coming out this month in 8 days actually, and I'm so excited to read it. I'm excited to see what happens with these characters, especially after the big plot twist in this. This book was really, really good. The next book I read in 2016 is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first book in the Grisha trilogy. Again, I've heard a lot of mixed opinions about this trilogy. I enjoyed this book. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 on Goodreads. It was good. I thought the start was kind of, it took me a while to get into. I thought the second half was a lot better than the first half, but yeah, it was really good. I thought the characters were definitely very interesting, especially the Darkling. Wow, he was such a unique character, so brilliant. So yeah, this book follows our main character Aline, who is an orphan and she has a power. Basically the Grisha are people who have powers, so she gets taken in with them and she meets the Darkling, who she kind of falls for, and when she gets taken in with the Grisha, she leaves her best friend Mal behind, and she loved him. So it's kind of a love triangle, but yeah, if you read this book, you'll understand where it goes towards the end. This book was really good. The ending was really, really good. I'm definitely excited to read the next book, and this cover is beautiful. I also really want to finish this trilogy before I read her newest book, Six of Crows, because I've heard such amazing things about that book, but I want to read this series first. The seventh book I read in 2016 is The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. This book has been sitting on my shelf for years, but the reason I finally picked it up was because the movie's out. I didn't even want to look at the trailer before reading this book, so I flew through this book, absolutely fell in love with it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. It was amazing. Definitely one of my favourite books of all time. It was so, so good. It's a sci-fi novel about an alien invasion, and it follows Cassie, who she's a 16-year-old basically by herself trying to survive, and her little 5-year-old brother Sammy got taken away, and she made a promise to him that she'd come find him, so the whole book is her trying to find her little brother. There's also two other point of views. Evan Walker, who I am absolutely head over heels in love with. Oh my god, I love him so much. And there's also Ben Parrish, who Cassie had a crush on when she was in school before the whole alien invasion happened, and you follow his story as well. This book was just action-packed, hilarious, emotional, amazing, super suspenseful, exciting, just perfect. I can't find any flaws in this book. I absolutely adored it. I just want to reread it again. I've heard quite negative things about the next book, which is called The Infinite Sea, which has me really upset because I love this book so much and I'm terrified to read the next book, but at the same time, The Last Star is the last book that's coming out this year, so I need to read The Infinite Sea first. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I hope I actually like the next book because this book is just my baby. And the 8th and final book that I read this year is City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. This is the 6th and final book in the Mortal Instruments series. Yes guys, I've only just read this book. I read City of Lost Souls I think back in 2012, so that's like 4 years ago. And then I bought this book when it came out, but I just never picked it up for whatever reason. Even though I love this series, it's one of my favourite series of all time. I think I just didn't want this series to be over, so I just sort of left this book like on my shelf. But yeah, I finally decided to pick it up because Cassandra Clare's new series, The Dark Artifices, the first book, Lady Midnight, is coming out in March, so I needed to finish this series first. I'm really excited for that book. This book was so emotional. I bawled my eyes out more than once. It was just so good to be thrust back into the Shadowhunter world. I missed these characters so much and I forgot how much I missed them until I started reading this. Oh, this book, oh my god, it absolutely crushed my heart. Anyone who's read this book, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh my god, this book. Cassandra Clare is a cruel, cruel woman. She just knows how to break our hearts, but at the same time, she's so brilliant. Her ideas are just unbelievable. Her characters are amazing. You just get so attached to them. Her plot twists, her writing, everything about her is amazing. She's a genius, and I loved this book so much. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I am heartbroken that I finally finished this series, even though it's been over for ages now. I've only finished it now, so I am heartbroken, and because everyone else has read it ages ago, I have no one to discuss it with. But yeah, this book was so good. The Mortal Instruments has always been one of my favourite book series, so I really recommend it to everybody. I also love how this tied in with The Infernal Devices, which is Cassandra Clare's prequel series. It was just, oh, I got so emotional. This book was just amazing. I loved it so much. So that is my January 2016 wrap up. I really enjoyed making this video. I'm hoping February will be just as good a reading month. We'll see what happens. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. I'll hopefully be uploading my February TBR soon, so we'll see how that goes. Thanks for watching, guys. Slán live!